All right, in this lesson we're going to be looking at congruent triangles. Two triangles are congruent if their corresponding parts, their sides and angles are congruent. And there's an acronym for that, CPCTC, which says that corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. We have these two triangles, ABC and DEF. They are congruent, so their corresponding parts are congruent. Now, we only need to use the congruent statement to determine which parts are congruent to the corresponding parts in the other triangle. So if we look at the congruent statement, A and D are in the same place, so those two angles are congruent. B and E are in the middle, so they're congruent. C and F are in the third place, so they're congruent. A and B are the first two letters, so they're congruent to D and F, the first two letters in the second part of the congruent statement. B and C are the second and third letters. E and F are the second and third letters, so BC is congruent to EF. A and C are the first and third letters, so they're congruent to the first and third letters in the other triangle, the other half of that congruent statement, D and F. All right, so we're told that these two triangles are congruent. So again, we just need to use the congruent statement to determine which parts are congruent to the stated angle or side. So angle Z corresponds to angle Q because they're in the same place. Y and Z are the second and third letters, so the second and third letter in the second part of that congruent statement is P and Q. P is in the middle letter in the second part of the congruent statement, so the middle letter in the first part is Y. X is the first letter in the left side of that congruent statement. The first letter in the right side is N. N and Q are the first and third on the right side, so the first and third on the left side is X and Z. And then P and N are the second and first on the right side, so that corresponds to the second and first on the left side, which is Y and X. Make sure that you enter it as YX and not XY, because P corresponds to Y and N corresponds to X. Next, we need to find a bunch of the different values. We're told that these two triangles are congruent. So we're given an expression for that right angle M. M is a right angle, so it equals 90. So we're just going to set 7Z plus 6 equal to 90 and solve for Z by subtracting 6 from both sides and then dividing by 7. So Z equals 12. To find Y, angle B is a 90-degree angle, and that's where we have 5Y equals is the expression for angle B. So we can set 5Y equal to 90 and then solve for Y by dividing both sides by 5. Y is going to equal 18. And then angle L. Angle L is one of the angles in that right triangle. The other acute angle is 30 degrees. So we know that the acute angles in a right triangle, they are complementary. So angle L plus angle N will equal 90. So angle L plus 30 equals 90. Subtract 30 from both sides, and we get angle L equals 60. And then LN we can find by plugging in the value of Y that we solved a couple slides ago. So the expression for LN is 2Y minus 12. So we want to replace the Y with its value that we found, again, a couple slides ago. It's 18. 2 times 18 is 36. Minus 12 is 24. And then to find X, we're told that the two triangles are congruent to each other. X is in the expression for angle A. And angle A, we know from the congruent statement, it corresponds with angle N. And angle N in the other triangle is 30 degrees, so we'll just set 30 equal to 6x plus 12, since angle N and angle A are congruent. Solve for x by subtracting 12 from both sides, and then divide both sides by 6, and x equals 3. And then AC, we're going to find by setting the expression for AC is z plus 12. So we're going to replace z with the value that we found a couple slides ago. We determined that z was 12. 12 plus 12 is 24. And then we just need to mark the congruent parts on this triangle. Angle R is congruent to angle L. Angle Q is congruent to angle J. Angle S is congruent to angle K. Then RQ is congruent to LJ. QS is congruent to JK. And RS is congruent to LK.